I'm sitting in a house that could fit 20 families. Marble floors, Carrera, 12-foot ceilings with custom crown molding, a chandelier in the entryway that cost $47,000. My accountant called 3 times questioning it. I told him it was an investment. In what? I don't know anymore. I haven't turned it on in 2 years. The only sound is the hum of the air conditioning and my breathing. It's been 3 days since anyone called, 4 weeks since anyone visited, 6 months since anyone said my name with warmth. I keep my phone on the counter, volume up just in case, but it never rings. Not really. Telemarketers, robocalls, the pharmacy. I built an empire pulling oil out of the ground in Texas. 73 wells at my peak, 412 employees. My name in the Houston Chronicle every month. Now I'm 71, and I can't remember the last time someone looked me in the eye and meant it when they asked how I was doing. The maid comes Tuesdays. Rosa, from Guatemala. 6 years together. Never had a real conversation. She doesn't speak English. I don't speak Spanish. We nod. She cleans around me like I'm furniture. I wonder if she pities me. I tip her extra at Christmas. She smiles, says something I don't understand, leaves. I grew up in a 2-bedroom house in East Houston. Aluminum siding, chain-link fence. My father worked graveyard shift at a refinery off Highway 225. Came home every morning smelling like sulfur and crude. His work clothes permanently stained brown-black. He'd shower, drink 2 beers, watch the news, fall asleep by 9 a.m. My mother worked at Kroger, cashier, 32 years. They lived paycheck to paycheck their entire marriage. Never missed a bill, never took a vacation, never complained. My father died at 52, heart attack in the shower. I was 19. I remember standing in that hospital hallway thinking, this is what happens when you work for someone else your entire life. You die tired and broke, and nobody remembers your name. I decided right there, I wasn't going to die punching someone else's clock. 6 months after my father's funeral, I took out a $15,000 loan, bought a lease on 40 acres outside Beaumont, scrub brush and red dirt. Everyone said I was insane. Geologists laughed. One guy told me I'd have better luck drilling in my backyard. But I had a feeling. That's what they call it in Texas. A feeling. I hired 3 guys with a beat-up rig, started drilling May 1976, 103 degrees. We drilled 6 weeks. I slept in my truck, ate gas station sandwiches. I was 25 and believed I'd strike it rich or die trying. The first well came in on a Tuesday morning in July, 7:43 a.m. We hit the formation at 31 feet. The pressure gauge jumped. The drill bit caught. Then it started. Black gold, thick as syrup. I stood there covered in dirt and sweat, watching it rise, and I felt something I'd never felt before. Power. Pure power. Like I'd cracked open the earth and pulled out my future with my bare hands. That well produced 1,200 barrels a day for 9 months. I cleared $214,000 the first year. In 1976, that was generational money. I paid off the loan in 3 months, bought my wife a white Cadillac. She cried, said we didn't need it. I told her this was just the beginning. Paid off my mother's house, got an office in downtown Houston, and I kept drilling. By 1980, I had 17 wells across East Texas, Full crew, roughnecks, geologists, engineers. I was in the field every day, boots caked in mud, hands stained black. I loved the smell of diesel and drilling fluid. I loved the rig motor at 4 a.m. When I walked into a restaurant in Houston, people knew my name. When I walked into a bank, loan officers stood up. When I bid on a lease, competitors backed off. I wasn't the biggest operator in Texas, but I was aggressive, smart, hungry, and I didn't stop. By 1983, I had 42 producing wells, 18 trucks with my logo. We were producing 23,000 barrels monthly. I was clearing 400,000 a month. I bought a house in River Oaks, then a ranch outside Katy, 1,600 acres, 6-bedroom main house, guest house, barn, a pool that cost $80,000. Never swam in it once. My son was 8. My daughter was 5. I missed both their birthdays that year, not because I forgot. I had meetings. A lease negotiation in Midland, a rig inspection in Corpus Christi, things that couldn't wait. My wife stopped asking me to come to school events, stopped leaving notes. She just stopped. But I told myself it was temporary. Once we hit the next big field, I'd slow down. I'd be present. That's what I told myself every year. For 7 years. The work consumed everything. I'd wake at 4:30, in the office by 5:30. Calls with engineers, meetings with bankers, site visits. I'd come home at 11 p.m., house dark, wife asleep, kids asleep. I'd pour a whiskey and go through reports, production numbers, cost analysis, projections. I thought I was building something permanent, security, legacy, something my kids would inherit. I thought they'd appreciate it later. But they didn't need security. They needed me at the dinner table. They needed me at bedtime. They needed me to know their friends' names and what scared them. I didn't know any of that. The first crack came during dinner, or what was supposed to be dinner. I came home 11 p.m. on a Thursday in October. Been in Dallas 3 days. My wife was sitting in the dark kitchen. No food, no lights. Just sitting by the window. I asked what was wrong. She didn't look at me. "You're not here when it matters." I told her I was building something, for them, for the family. She looked at me then, said our son asked that morning if I still lived in the house. He was 10, not being sarcastic, genuinely asking, because he saw me maybe 20 minutes a week. I felt something shift in my chest, guilt, fear, but I pushed it down. I had a meeting in Dallas the next morning, $3 million on the table. I told her we'd talk when I got back. I left at 5 a.m. Didn't see her face again for 2 weeks. Then oil prices started falling. Been at $60 a barrel for 3 years. Comfortable. I'd been drilling on credit, leveraged everything. The bank loved me at 60. But late 1985, OPEC flooded the market. Price dropped to 48, then 42, then 32. I was bleeding. 19 active rigs, fixed costs, labor, equipment, loans. I was burning $200,000 monthly just to keep operating. The bank started calling, daily, then twice daily. Friendly at first, then cold. I took out more loans, sold 3 wells at a loss, laid off 30 guys in one afternoon. Good men, men with families. I watched them clean out their lockers and felt nothing. I couldn't afford to feel. I was in survival mode. I stopped answering my wife's calls. stopped going home, slept in the office on a leather couch, ate cold tacos from the gas station, drank coffee until my hands shook. I thought if I worked harder, I could drill my way out. One good well, that's all I needed. But the price kept falling. By early 1986, oil hit $14. Every day was a new crisis. A rig broke down, a contractor quit, a loan payment bounced. I was scrambling, panicking, but I couldn't show it. I was the guy who'd built an empire. I couldn't let anyone see me crack. By mid-1986, oil was $12. I was $3.2 million in debt. The bank called in all the loans. I tried to negotiate. Sat across from guys who used to take me to lunch. Begged for extensions. They looked at me like a stranger. Said the decision came from corporate. I lost 26 wells in 6 weeks. Shut down the office. Let everyone go except 2 guys. I sold the ranch. 1,600 acres I promised we'd grow old on. Sold it for 60 cents on the dollar to a developer who turned it into a subdivision. Sold the trucks, the equipment, everything. And I didn't tell my wife. I couldn't admit I'd failed. She found out when the bank sent a foreclosure notice. She called. Her voice was flat, asked if it was true. I said yes. She hung up. 3 days later, divorce papers arrived. Her lawyer was younger than me. Perfect hair, expensive suit. Laid out the terms like reading a grocery list. Half of everything. Alimony, child support. I signed. I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment, 700 square feet. I could hear my neighbor's TV every night through the wall. My son stopped taking my calls after the divorce. I tried for 6 months, left desperate messages. He never responded. He was 15, angry. I don't blame him. I missed his entire childhood. Wasn't there when he learned to ride a bike. Wasn't there for his first baseball game. Wasn't there when he broke his arm. Wasn't there when he needed help or advice or just someone to sit with. His mother was there for everything. When the money stopped, so did my relevance. I called him on his 16th birthday. He answered. I said, "Happy birthday." He said, "Thanks." Silence. I asked about school. He said, "Fine." I told him I loved him. He said, "Okay," and hung up. That was our last real conversation. My daughter was softer, more forgiving. She'd answer occasionally, short conversations. "How's school?" "Good." "How's Mom?" "Fine." "Are you okay, Dad?" "I'm okay." Lies, all of it. I asked her to visit once in 1988. She was 17. I told her I had a new place. I'd take her to dinner. She said she'd think about it. She never came. I stopped asking. It hurt less. I'd see her at holidays sometimes. She'd hug me, smile, ask generic questions. But there was distance, a wall. I'd built it brick by brick over 17 years. Every missed birthday, every canceled promise. You can't tear that down with a hug. The last well shut down September 1989. Well number 1. The original. I drove out there on a Sunday morning. The equipment was rusted, the derrick leaning, the ground littered with old cable and pipe. I walked to the edge and looked at the dry earth. This was where it started, where I felt power for the first time, where I believed I could win. I stood there for a long time. All that money, all that time, all that belief I was building something permanent, gone. I sat in my truck for an hour, then drove back to Houston, sold the remaining leases for 30 cents on the dollar, paid what I could. The rest went to collections. I filed for bankruptcy March 1990. It took 11 minutes. I did odd jobs for years after. Consulting, helping smaller operators avoid my mistakes. It paid rent and food. I met a woman in 1994, Linda, a waitress. We dated 8 months. She was patient. But one night she asked about my kids. I told her the truth, that I didn't see them, that I'd destroyed those relationships. She looked at me differently after that. We broke up 2 weeks later. She said she needed someone present, someone not haunted. I didn't argue. Now I sit in this house. Bought it 2003 with settlement money. $400,000 after fees. 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. Too big, too quiet. Rosa cleans once a week. We don't speak. My son is 41, lives in Boulder, software engineer, married, 2 kids, Jackson and Emma. I've never met them. I see photos on Facebook, birthday parties, ski trips, smiling faces. They don't tag me. I don't comment. I just look. My daughter is 38, teacher in Austin, 3rd grade, married to an architect. They have a dog. She posts pictures of her classroom. She looks happy. I'm glad. I thought about reaching out last Christmas. Wrote an email. Dear Sarah, I'm proud of you. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I deleted it. What would be the point? Words don't fix decades. I don't regret the ambition. I don't regret the risk. What I regret is believing success and family were separate accounts, that I could drain one and fill the other later, that there would be time. There's never time. You think you're building a legacy. You think your name on a deed means something. But legacy isn't what you build. It's who remembers you, and why. My son teaches his daughter to ride a bike. I saw a video on Facebook. He's patient, encouraging, running beside her, laughing. That's legacy. My daughter calls her husband when she's scared. That's legacy. I have none of that. I have marble floors in silence. I have a chandelier I don't turn on. I have rooms no one enters. The oil is still down there, somewhere under Texas. Someone else is pulling it out now. Someone younger, hungrier. I hope he has better priorities. I hope he goes home for dinner. I hope he knows his kids' middle names. But he probably doesn't. Because when you're 30 and you hit your first well and the oil flows and the money comes, you feel like God. Invincible. You think there will always be more time. Until you're 71 and alone. I don't answer the phone anymore. I just sit here in this big empty house and listen to the air conditioning and wait. For what? I don't know anymore. I remember the exact moment I realized I'd lost my son forever. It was 3 years after the divorce. He was 18. I showed up unannounced at his high school graduation, sat in the back row of the auditorium, watched him walk across the stage in his blue cap and gown. He didn't know I was there. When they called his name, I stood up, started to clap. The people around me looked uncomfortable. My ex-wife saw me from across the room. Her face went cold. After the ceremony, I waited by the exit, wanted to congratulate him, give him the card I brought with $500 inside, money I'd saved for 2 months. He came out with his friends, laughing. I called his name. He turned, saw me. His face changed. All the light went out of it. He looked at his mother. She shook her head slightly. He walked past me without a word, like I was invisible, like I didn't exist. I stood there holding that card until the parking lot was empty. Then I sat in my truck and cried for the first time since my father died. Not quiet tears, ugly, choking sobs that hurt my chest. I was 46 years old, and I'd lost my son, not to death, to my own choices. There are sounds I hear at night that make it worse. Sometimes around 9 p.m., I hear children laughing in the neighborhood, playing outside before bedtime. I stand at my window and watch them. A father pushing his daughter on a bike. Another dad playing catch with his son in the driveway. Normal things, simple things, things I never did. I close the blinds, but I can still hear them. The laughter, the voices. "Good job, buddy. One more time, Daddy." I pour another whiskey and turn on the TV loud enough to drown it out. I tried therapy once. 2007. A woman named Dr. Martinez. Her office smelled like lavender. She asked me why I was there. I told her I was lonely. She asked if I'd tried reaching out to my children. I said yes. She asked what happened. I told her they don't respond. She asked why I thought that was. I said because I wasn't there when they needed me. She said, "And are you ready to accept that some damage can't be repaired?" I stared at her, got up, walked out, never went back. I wasn't ready to accept it then. I'm still not ready now. But, ready or not, it's the truth. My daughter got married 4 years ago. I found out on Facebook. Saw the photos 2 days after. Her in a white dress, him in a gray suit. My ex-wife walking her down the aisle. That's what broke me. Not that I wasn't invited, but that someone else walked her down the aisle. Someone else had that moment, that honor. I wasn't even considered. I sat at my computer and looked through all 73 photos. The ceremony, the reception, the first dance. Everyone looked happy. There was a photo of her dancing with my ex-wife's brother, my replacement. I closed the laptop and didn't open it for a month. Sometimes I write letters I never send. Long ones, 10, 12 pages. Dear son, dear daughter, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I chose money over you, and I'd give anything to go back. I tell them about my childhood, my father, my fear of ending up like him. I try to explain, not excuse, just explain. I tell them I love them, that I'm proud of them, that I think about them every day. I sign them, put them in envelopes, address them. Then I put them in a drawer in my desk. There are 47 letters in that drawer now, unopened, unsent. What would be the point? They don't want my explanations. They don't want my apologies. They want a father who was there. And I can't give them that. It's 20 years too late. The house makes sounds at night that remind me I'm alone. The ice maker in the refrigerator drops ice every hour. Sounds like footsteps. The AC clicking on. The water heater gurgling. Sometimes I talk out loud just to hear a human voice. My own voice. It's just the house settling, I'll say. Nothing to worry about. Like I'm talking to someone else. Like someone's listening. But nobody is. Nobody ever is.